Hello everyone, Marty Six Wrestlers here, and yes, I am back. I know it's been a while, but that's because I had a lot of stuff in my personal life. I had to do a dance for a party. Yeah, and obviously I need to focus more on that and rather than YouTube videos. But I am back. Yeah. So today I'm gonna do a discussion video. And that is the Arrowverse dying? Because this is something that's kind of been on my mind for a while. And I kind of want to give my own personal reasons as to why I think the Arrowverse is dying. So, let's get started. So our first thing we're going to discuss is canceled shows. Now, I want to first take a look at Batwoman and Naomi. Batwoman and Naomi were kind of the newest shows in the Arrowverse. Well, Batwoman came around late 2019, before it ended this year, before it ended on its third season. Naomi is arguably the most recent one. Now, yes, these two shows were not popular by any stretch, and I understand if you absolutely hated these shows, I understand that. But to me, I feel like them getting canceled was not necessary. For instance, is Naomi. Okay, fair enough if people hated this season one, okay? But I mean, there's a lot of shows that had a bad season one, but then slowly turned good. I want to say about, what's the show that I watch? Legends of Tomorrow, which is another canceled show, but around its peak. Season 1 wasn't that popular before it eventually became a very popular show. I think Naomi was kind of meant to have the same way. Now, granted, a lot of the story characters in Naomi aren't like the best characters in the DC universe, which is probably another reason why people just kind of, but still. And when it came to Batwoman, Batwoman aired around the time Arrow ended. And I'm not going to be talking about Arrow or Black Lightning. I'm going to be talking about their sequel series a little later on in this category. But Batwoman was kind of meant to be Arrow's replacement, because Arrow was, out of the 4 shows, Arrow, Supergirl, The Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow was always meant to be the one that's more about the more street level ones. I mean, you're dealing with characters that are you're dealing with like Deathstroke or Count Vertigo. You're not dealing with Galactus or Doctor Strange. You're dealing with less of these explosive villains, but more so on these more like drug lords essentially. Yeah. And that's kind of what Batwoman is. It's not meant to deal. Yeah, you do have some metahumans, but it's not like every villain is a meta. Now let's talk about the sequel series, Green Arrow and the Canaries and Painkiller. Now, Green Arrow and the Canaries, I understand why some people wanted it to happen, and it obviously didn't turn out. But to me, Green Arrow and the Canaries would have been like how, I think Flash first said they were, but I don't know, I don't remember. I remember hearing someone say it would have been just like the same show, when they're talking about the Impulse and Excess show. It would have just been the same show as the Flash. And I feel like the same problem means it's going to be the same show. And a spinoff could work, but then again, I feel like one of the reasons it was canceled is because there's no stories to tell. What ideas can you use? Can you use, Green Arrow fight, Mia Queen finds more about what's going on with her brother, or do you make stories where Mia Queen fights, her, like, Damien Darr, her Deathstroke? It would have been the same thing we've already seen, so I understand why that probably wouldn't work that well. Now, I haven't watched Black Lightning yet, so I can't put more detail on the Painkiller spinoff. But yeah. Now let's go into category 2, repetitive storylines. Sometimes when you have not the same thing over and over again, could actually be a quite good thing. You know, I've said this many times, but The Walking Dead is probably the best example. You know, it's not like every season is the same, you know. Okay, season 1, you have people dealing with zombies, and people die. Season 2, you didn't have much of that, which in my opinion worked. Season 3, you start getting a little bit more different, etc. Now, the reason why I think repetitive storylines on The Walking Dead worked a lot better is because stuff actually does happen. You know, for instances, say if I skip the season 7 premiere and I realize, hey, wait a minute, what happened to some characters? You know, some characters are dead, or like if I skip certain seasons, I'm gonna miss out on a lot of stuff. And that's, in my opinion, is what makes a good show, is when, you know, it always asks you, hey, stay with us. You know, we actually do have some stuff going on, and people actually are going to die. In my opinion, that something shows like that work better than what the Arrowverse has. For instances, take Arrow season 4. Say if I skip season 4, entirety of season 4, I'm gonna realize, wait a minute, where's Laurel? Where is she? She's dead, right? She's dead. And I didn't see this, but then you realize you skip season 4 and just move straight to season 5. And that's when you actually, yeah. And I think something like that, like for instance, as that makes sense, you know, because you missed something. Whereas where like, say like The Flash, yeah, you had Frost's death in season 8, but have we had other characters die? I mean, in my opinion, even The Flash has kind of gone downhill because now it's kind of predictable. You know, oh, a crime happens. Oh, Cecile is going to be perfectly fine. You know, she's actually going to improve and level up and become, I don't know, Doctor Strange level character, even though realistically that shouldn't happen. And you understand what I mean, right? And to me, I always find these scenes in The Flash where, the crime doesn't happen because they are buried or someone else stops it in time. To just be ridiculous at this point. Okay, fair enough if you do it maybe once in a while, or once, but kind of make the crime actually happen, because that in my opinion would make me more interested in the season. Because for instance, the Cecile storyline in the last few episodes of season 8 kind of draw me out of, in fact, took me out of the entire show, because I realized, you know what, this is what's going to happen every season. You know, The Flash is going to have a scene where, crime's going to happen, and the crime is stopped immediately. It's kind of getting a little predictable, in my opinion. And that's what I'm saying. You have this kind of issue where, and you also have it with even the main villains. You know, sometimes you have, like on The Flash, you know, you have Reverse Flash all the time, and he's getting repetitive really quickly, etc. My next category for why I think the Arrowverse is done is that sometimes there's no real stakes. This is what I mean back when I said repetitive stories, you know. You have not a lot of characters dying, which in my opinion kind of makes sometimes feel makes the characters, kind of ruins the purpose of the show. Now granted, I know a lot of shows don't really kill off characters because, you know, it kind of draws them away, but sometimes I think doing something like that is necessary. The Walking Dead, like I said before, is probably the best example I could ever give. You know, like I said before, people die in The Walking Dead, but it's not because, it's zombies, but because it's necessary. For instance, say the Arrowverse did The Walking Dead as a TV show and they had almost no characters dying, do you think people are gonna still watch it? I bet people are gonna be like, okay, so I probably look for the AMC show because, you know, people actually die in that show. No, it's not the case, oh, I just watched an episode and no one dies, because that kind of ruins the purpose of the theme of a zombie apocalypse, etc. I hope you guys understand what I mean. See, because I feel like some of the Arrowverse does this a lot where it doesn't have a lot of real stakes. Now, my last category may not be partly part of the Arrowverse, but it's definitely part of the reason why I think the Arrowverse has been dying, and that is toxic people. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, like Olicity shippers who are very toxic, West Island shippers who are also toxic, none of them. I'm talking about people that are so toxic that they're just going to hate you just because of your own opinions, or you make your own theories, etc. Because I've encountered these people, and I think it's apparent that I have to talk about it. Yes, I know not everyone in the Arrowverse fan base is toxic. You have some really nice people out there. You know, you have some nice YouTubers like DC Comics Arrowverse, Flashverse, Arrowverse Scenes, or for my friend Flero Spider. You know, they're all really good people because, you know, because say if you make a theory video, oh, and it turns out to be wrong, you know, you make a theory video, you know, and yeah, they're not going to just tell you, hey, this is actually, that theory actually kind of makes sense, and etc, etc, etc. For instance, my theory on the, it's Jesse Anderson coming over to the Flash in Season 8, that was just a theory of mine, okay? I asked the question, is maybe they're going to use Jesse Anderson's character from the Walking Dead comics more with the Mina DeWan character than the Mina DeWan. Obviously, that turned out to be wrong. But here's the thing. I've also gotten replies on like other channels, like on like Beast Comics Arrowverse, Flashverse, whatever, where it feels like I'm never allowed to share my opinions or my theories. For instances, I made a theory suggesting on DC Comics Arrowverse's CNA review saying maybe in the Arrowverse made the Soviet Union didn't just look like it did in real life, and maybe the Soviet Union is creating like Soviet species like they do in the DC universe. And I had this one reply saying, just stop. Where even though I'm looking at the comics, not looking at it in real life. There's also a lot of other replies I get, like saying like, or like when I get my Flash seasons rank, I had a lot of comment replies saying, awful lists. I also gotten some replies where they're like, no. And even when I like to make some jokes on the Flash, like I made a joke where I'm like, I just returned from the future. The Flash ends with Chester and Light getting married. Some people think I'm actually being serious, even though it's just a joke. Or when I even made a joke on Discord where I'm like, Barry has to use the bathroom, and people didn't find them that funny, even though they're not offensive by any stretch. And it feels like I'm never allowed to have a sense of humor. It never feels I'm allowed to have my own theories. It never feels like I'm allowed to have my own opinions. And I think part of the reason why, I think you all should know this, I've actually had thoughts of not reviewing Season 9 of The Flash. Yeah. I've had thoughts of, you know what, I'm not going to talk about Season 9, I'm just going to focus on other stuff. Even now, I'm still debating if I should talk about Season 9, because it feels like whenever I make a theory video, I had to accept, and obviously, some people may not like my theories, but here's the thing. And I think this is a message for everyone. If no one, if like me and Fleur Spider, even if he doesn't like my theories, he could still kind of understand why I like some of my theories. For instance, at least if he finds, hey, you actually made some good points, etc., then I can understand. And I think, part of the reason why, another reason why I had not thoughts of not reviewing season 9 is because I've literally had thoughts of not even reviewing season 9 or even making theory videos. Because now I've realized, you know what, people are this horrible with me, I shouldn't do a video on it. I shouldn't review season 9's episodes. I'll just, just do versus videos for a while.